Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back again. It is Sunday, May 10th. Happy Mother's Day. I just uploaded the first video, which was the Q post for today, and now we're going to get into some news. So, let's get at her. All right, guys, and I do have some people to thank, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Donated via coffee, Joyce Via, she is from LA, California, Kelly V, and Miranda and Linda O'Shea from Australia. So I think it's always so interesting to me to see where people are listening from, because yes, we have a bunch of people in the States, but we also have a lot of people overseas that listen. So that is always interesting to me. And Patreon, Lisa Farmer increased her pledge. So thank you guys so much. I do depend on donations and Patreon subscribers to help me do what I do, because I am not monetized at all, and there should be no advertisements of any sort on this channel. And if there are, please let me know, because I have been demonetized. So if anyone's running ads on this, you know, I'm not certainly getting any income from it. So I would like to know if you do see them. And there have been a few people that have let me know that they have seen ads. So that's very interesting to me. But anyway, because obviously if my stuff is not monetized, it's because they said it's not appropriate for advertisers. So then why the heck are they advertising on my channel? Anyway, let's get into the news. And now I've been collecting this over several days, and as you know, Q has been posting like a crazy person, and so I haven't had a chance to bring it to you. So some of this stuff is really new and some of it is a couple days old, but it's all good stuff. At least that's my opinion. I'm a little biased though. So let's take a look at this first. All right, this is a resurfaced video. And hang on here. It's a resurfaced video of Joe Biden, and it says, resurfaced video is devastating to Joe Biden's campaign, exposes how much of a liar he is. So if anybody ever questioned that, well, let's listen to this. And let's turn this up first so you can hear it. All right.
Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Joe Biden was victimized by the truth.
Bye Biden. He may not know it yet, but I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover it.
Is Joe Biden dead meat, yes or no?
I think so.
Bob?
It's in terminal condition.
Terminal? Eleanor?
Yes, unless he comes in third in Iowa.
Morton?
Dying.
I say dead.
Democratic presidential candidate Joseph Biden today faces a controversy. 3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seems to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife is sitting out there in the audience? Is the first in her family to ever go to college.
Wade is the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university.
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania and come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now that's a little too much, because as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been, it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge, that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
for the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
To the political community in Washington, it all seems of a piece. Plagiarism at law school, plagiarism on the stump.
The great communicator. Strike that. The great imitator.
You don't steal verbatim, or when you do, as he did 99% of the time, you give credit.
Biden's critics say he sells himself as a man whose words and visions can inspire a new generation in politics. But if the thoughts, phrases, and visions really belong to others, it's a form of false advertising.
Is it a wise idea, though, to take something that personal, anyway, from another politician and try and appropriate it to your own campaign?
I think it was a stupid thing to appropriate material that was really very personal, that was someone else's.
Most people didn't know who he was, Joe Biden, and now they're going to say, oh yeah, he's the guy who plagiarized. That's
A lot of people.
Politically, that's devastating. These clips are devastating. He looks like a Joe Biden wind-up doll with somebody else's words coming out.
If they're going to do things that are stupid as well as immoral, then they're probably too dumb to have the job of president.
The voters are going to have to decide whether he was dishonest or dumb.
Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
Okay, now it's starting over, but let's all right, let's get out of there and go back to here. Now, I think that is very, very interesting, and I hope that the Trump campaign has a hold of that. Very interesting because he lied. He said that he graduated top of his class. He said that he graduated with 3 degrees. None of that was true. And then he said, oh, my memory failed me. Well, I'll tell you something, all of our memories fail us at times, but I've never had a memory lapse where I didn't know how many degrees I had, or how many I had per school, because I do have 3 degrees. I have actually more than that if you count my associate degrees, but I've got a master's and 2 Bachelor of Arts. So yeah, I don't think I'd forget that. I would never forget that. So those are not things that you forget. You may forget somebody's name, you may forget, a date, something, but not how many degrees you have or whether you were the top of the class or not. I think I would remember that. I actually know what classes I was the top of and what classes I wasn't the top of. So yeah, that doesn't make sense. And then what is the other? Oh, the plagiarizing. And when he says, well, I made a mistake. A mistake is not 5 pages. That just hit me in the face. 5 pages? My gosh, that's a lot to plagiarize. And nowadays, you can't do that because you have to run your paper through a system that will pick out if something in your paper has been published anywhere else. Now, if you have properly cited that, then it's fine. But if you haven't, then you get charged with plagiarism and you get 0 and possibly kicked out of school. And well, you should. But 5 pages. My gosh, okay, I just thought he was immoral. I didn't realize that he's just not that smart either. Unbelievable. Using other people's words, plagiarizing, unbelievable. And this man wants to be president. All right, well, good luck with that, Joe Biden. All right, now let's move to this. I thought you would find that very interesting, that I think it's gold. Now, from that to this. Here are the highlights from Nancy's presser today. Now, this was May 7th, so this was 3 days ago, and maybe you've seen this already. If not, I'm going to torture you with it. Yes, I am. Look away, kids, look away. No, really, save yourselves. Okay, it's coming. Okay, I'm just warning you in case you've just eaten something or you're feeling a little nauseated. This isn't going to help. So let's take a look.
Terrible time. Had all tweeting and writing to me and stuff like that. Everybody knows that. Everybody doesn't know. I think that the chairman of the Fed thanked Bixby. I think we've done our people on the thing. Let's see. We're going to open the House when the Sergeant at Arms and the Capitol physician say that we can come. Now, we have for a recorded vote, a couple recorded votes. I'm hoping that when we come back, and I'm hoping that's next week, we'll have the, I'm so sorry, dear. Do I expect what? And so, what did they say today? It might be up to 17%, 16 or 17% unemployment. Keep saying we want government to open up. Well, it can, but if people can't come because we don't want them to come, terrible time.
And now it's starting over again. But also notice that here, let's go through. How did she get into that dress? Seriously, did she paint it on? I mean, that's a tight dress. Anyway, I'm just saying, it's a little tight. Okay, well, yeah, the dress is not the concern there. I think that you probably, picked up on that. What was she even talking about? Well, I guess she had a liquid lunch, liquid breakfast, probably liquid breakfast, lunch, and supper. Yeah. While the rest of her constituents are so poor, they have to eat beans for breakfast, drink water for lunch, and swell up for supper. Yeah, look at all the homeless people in her district. Anyway, I don't know why I got off on that. Okay. Yeah, some of her constituents, they're so poor, their welcome mat just says, well, okay. Let's go back now. Oh, look, the video came up. It takes forever. Once I upload a video, it takes forever now. It just sits there and processes for like an hour. And then it decides to go through. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. I guess I'm in a chatty mood tonight because I've been on those Q posts forever and I couldn't really chat. So now I just want to chat. Okay, let's look at this now. Okay, Nancy Pelosi's Jesus complex. And she has one. She does. Nancy Pelosi is the leader of a party that has accused the president and the 63 million Americans who voted for him of betraying their country, destroying its constitution, colluding with its enemies, causing the deaths of thousands of CV victims, and hating immigrants, Muslim, peoples of color, gays, and women. According to Pelosi and the Democrats, Trump is so dangerous a threat to the republic that he must be removed before the next election, although it is only months away. How does Pelosi see herself and the party that has faithfully supported her vendetta and smeared millions of Republicans as xenophobes and white supremacists? Pelosi answered this question during a recent interview with MSNBC host Joy Ann Reid. When Reid asked her whether releasing convicted criminals from jail would be a part of her COVID-19 relief legislation, Pelosi's response was, "In our caucus, we are very devoted to the Gospel of Matthew." which says that you should visit people in prison, not set them free. Just to clarify, you know. Pelosi then quoted from memory the particular parable in Matthew she was referring to. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was homeless, you sheltered me. When I was in prison, you visited me. Yeah, visiting is much different than setting free. Just saying. And so this for us is part of our value system. Yeah, she doesn't have a value system unless it's measured in percentage of alcohol. Anyway. Pelosi, okay. In sum, while the unconverted might reasonably view Pelosi as the leader of a party of hate, she regards herself as a leader of the party of Jesus. Okay, I had to pause there because I was just a little shocked when I read that sentence. She thinks she's the leader of party of Jesus. One of the defining characteristics of a sociopathic personality is what psychologists call a grandiose sense of self. This hyper-elevated sense of one's own importance and righteousness led to a second crucial sociopathic personality trait, the lack of conscience, of a sense of empathy with the victims of one's behavior. For example, since the Speaker of the House is not Jesus, her lack of concern for the plight of ordinary citizens who are not worth $200 million and can't afford elaborate walls, gates, and private security agents to protect them from the criminals that her legislation causes to be released, or, for that matter, the illegal aliens she invites into the country without being vetted to see if they are sex traffickers, drug dealers, violent criminals, rapists, or carriers of infectious diseases. These observations are not offered as an exercise in pop psychology. They are just obvious patterns of behavior for Nancy Pelosi and the party she leads, an attempt to understand how and why Democrats have divided this country into warring camps. Over the last 20 years, identity politics, which is better understood as cultural Marxism, has become the ideological religion of the Democrat Party. Such absurdities, I can never say that word, I always screw it up. Anyway, as believe all women and distrust old white men are tropes of the Democrats' New World Order. How do adults actually swallow such racist and sexist piffle? The answer is collectivism. If one believes in the primacy of groups over individuals, as Democrats universally do, and if one couples that with a belief in a redeemed future in which social justice reigns, everyone is equal, and Green New Deal panaceas prevail, then the sociopathic traits, self-righteousness, and lack of sympathy for those one walks over to get to the promised land follows as night follows day. Thinking of oneself as saving the planet is a direct path to oppressing one's peers. Groupthink erases the individual and creates collective villains. Thus, according to the Democrats, because people of color suffer disproportionately from the coronavirus, the villain must be systemic inequality. The solution, of course, is a socialist redistribution of income. In reality, however, the culprit is individual behavior and individual choice. Two of the top comorbidity factors leading to coronavirus fatalities are type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. Both are caused by a third, obesity. These are the results of eating badly, of individual choices. Of 38% of African American adults are clinically obese, and 4 out of 5 African American women are either overweight or obese, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Recognizing this doesn't mean we don't take care of stricken individuals, but that we do them the service of making them aware of their responsibility for their fates. We don't subsidize their bad behaviors. In the iconography of the left, such sensible approaches are condemned as blaming the victim. Blaming others, demonizing others is the socialist way, and the prime reason the Democrats have become a party of hate. The designated guilty are rich white men and the Western democracies that have been most they have been most prominent in creating. The perverse religion has been exposed in an extraordinary way by the current global pandemic. The Chinese Communist Party's gross malfeasance in handling this virus led to the deaths of more than 250,000 innocent people to date, as collectivist Marxists who see themselves as saving the world. The Chinese communists have no hesitation in blaming others, in particular the United States, the great Satan in radical religions. The Democratic Party, led by Pelosi and Hillary Clinton, has leapt to their defense, condemning President Trump's use of the term Chinese virus as racist. Consider the spread of the virus in America itself. Excuse me. Eight of the 9 states with the most cases and eight of the 8 with the most deaths are run by collectivist Democrats who condemned Trump's travel ban on China as racist and have created a network of sanctuary cities and states to defy the nation's immigration laws and invite people into the country who have not been vetted for infectious diseases. The very concept of sanctuary is religious in nature, and one can be sure makes Pelosi and her political allies feel like Jesus. But they are not divinities, and their policies are deadly. No, and Jesus would not be cheering on the abortion of millions of unborn children, to be sure. Excuse me. Not the virus, allergies. All right. Let's go back. Nope, let's. Okay. Now, let's, I like this. DC FBI insiders fear General Flynn might take a flamethrower to this town before he is done. Now, remember, Q said Flynn knows where the bodies are buried. Yeah, he's a dangerous man now. Oh, he sure is. He always was, but dangerous to them, not to our side. We broke this story 26 months ago, or 2.2 years ago, while the rest of the media was asleep on the Flynn story in case. Keep that in mind when reading it, as it has proven more timely today than ever. The biggest, baddest dude in Washington, D.C. might be President Trump, but General Mike Flynn is running a close second, according to FBI insiders who fear he may start talking soon. And talking about the FBI and what exactly went down during his ordeal with the Bureau's Andrew McCabe infused investigation of Flynn, those unflattering details insiders reveal would bring more unwanted turmoil and public scrutiny to the embattled agency, especially the FBI's actions wielded against Flynn, which likely involve illegality and corruption. Worry quickly swept through the Beltway this weekend after Flynn appeared at a political rally days ago to support a California underdog running for Congress. Flynn's first public appearance since he was sacked as National Security Advisor in 2017. The surprise appearance clearly put the D.C. establishment on notice. Flynn is back. Oh yeah, he is. He's back, and he's bad, and he's talking. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah. And it says, I think he's gearing up to name names. Flynn confidant said he knows where many political bodies are buried in D.C. and what does he have to lose? Nothing. That fact makes Flynn a very dangerous man, especially in Washington, D.C., a place held together by secrets and people who want to keep them hidden. And elites recognize the fact that a rogue Flynn could add up to big trouble for such secrets and those they would expose. One FBI insider said General Flynn might take a flamethrower to this town before he is done. The FBI's disgraced former deputy director, Andrew McCabe, who was fired on Friday, certainly put Flynn through the federal ringer over the last year, sparked by what now appears to be a tainted FBI operation. U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller and Flynn struck a plea deal agreement months ago on a single felony charge of lying to the FBI. But Flynn associates said that while that plea was a public admission of guilt, the purpose of the plea was to put a tourniquet on Flynn's swelling legal fees and to put the matter to rest so that he and his family and his wife and family could begin to rebuild emotionally and financially. Flynn recently put his house on the market to help offset his legal fees and other losses linked to McCabe's ginned-up probe, sources said. That said, Flynn may have never lied to the FBI at all. His plea was merely a vehicle to end the bogus investigation, one close associate said. Flynn's sentencing has been recently delayed as more and more problems are uncovered about Mueller's investigation, which was based on McCabe-influenced FBI personnel, including Peter Strzok, whose interview of Flynn was the basis for the federal charge against him. But Strzok has since been defrocked as well, kicked off Mueller's team, and demoted inside the FBI for wielding a wild anti-Trump bias that would include or extend to an anti-Flynn bias as well. If Flynn's plea is not vacated by a federal judge in the District of Columbia, which it would appear could be in the works and has happened, White House sources have stated President Trump will most certainly pardon Flynn. Flynn is expected to relocate to Washington, D.C., one close associate said. People should be worried, close associate said. This is a very bright man, and he may want to get involved in the D.C. game. Before, he was always somewhat of a private outsider. They may have created a monster. The FBI's wayward Frankenstein? America could certainly use an anti-swamp monster. Oh, yes. And I do believe that you will see him in the next, when Trump gets reelected, you'll see him in the administration. I am quite certain of that. Of course, I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. All right, and let's go back now. And let's look at this, because I think you will find this interesting as well if you haven't already seen it. And what a sociopath. Crooked Ilhan Omar just got caught raising money for a Minnesota food store and pocketing the cash. That should surprise absolutely no one. She's already proven that she is morally bankrupt. She married her brother. She's misused her campaign funds, all sorts of things. So, yeah. Now, this is a couple days old, but again, you don't hear too much about it in the news, do you? Yeah, didn't think so. She's only been in Congress for one term, and already this woman has been caught in numerous scandals, including immigration fraud, marrying her brother, and funneling money into her lover's consulting firm. Now we can add one more crime to the list. Ilhan Omar asked for donations this week to help feed Minnesota food store. As Minnesotans struggle with hunger, I'm partnering with MN Food Share and other local groups that pack and deliver meals to students and families. Chip in $5 today to power their efforts to keep our communities fed. And it says, step up to help feed Minnesota's students and families. And, you see something like that. I know if I saw something like that and I believed in the cause and believed that the money was going to that cause, I would think, oh, $5, I can part with $5 to feed people, and I'm sure a lot of people did do that, not thinking that they were donating to Ilhan Omar. So, but Ilhan's tweet was removed after the director of the organization that runs the Minnesota food store tweeted out a reply. Adrian, I am the executive director of GMCC, Minnesota Food Share is our program. Ilhan Omar has nothing to do with this project. I do not know where the money is going. Wow. And this is from her. Her name is Adrian, or yeah, I guess that's how you say it, Adrian. So, yeah, she didn't even know anything about it. Now, if Ilhan Omar was raising money on their behalf, I think that she would have been in communication with them and vice versa. So, OMG, Omar is a complete sociopath. What a crook. And this from David Steinberg, yet another Ilhan Minnesota campaign finance problem. Ilhan posted this tweet on Tuesday, then deleted it at some point after it received this reply. And we've already stated what she said, and the reply It's only a matter of time before this woman is behind bars. Well, let's hope it's a short time. If it's a matter of time, I hope it's a short time. She deserves to be behind bars. She's not even in this country legally. On Tuesday, Ilhan tweeted a misleading fundraising link to her campaign. They made it disappear as if the money was going to they made it appear as if the money was going to Minnesota food share programs. She got caught and deleted the tweet. Is she that stupid that she doesn't know she'd get caught? I mean, if I was the head of an organization and all of a sudden politicians started saying, oh, we're raising money for this, and I'd be like, what? I don't know where that money's going. Not going to us. Did she really think she was not going to get caught? Probably. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Just wonder why it's not plastered all over the news everywhere. Well, we know why. Okay, let's go back because there's more interesting things. No, really, there is. Okay, now, this is a weird article, but we're okay with weird, right? I mean, I am. I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay with weird. All right, shock! As it's revealed, an enzyme called luciferase is what makes Bill Gates' implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccine delivery system work. Say what? Bill Gates is building something that we can call the human implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccination delivery system, and it's composed of multiple things. I want to draw your attention to one component, the quantum dot microneedles that will deliver the vaccines, and a very, very unique biochemical that makes it all work. If you're standing up while reading this, you might want to sit down. Today, we bring you near-infrared bioluminescent enzyme luciferase, which is the chemical that will make the quantum dot vaccination readable through a special mobile device app. That's right, the enzyme that will light up Bill Gates' human implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccination delivery system is called luciferase. That's what makes the vaccination readable long after the victim has been injected. Luciferase. Can't make this stuff up, people. Yeah. All right, with each passing day, it becomes clearer and plainer to those of us who are Bible believers that we are living in a very unique time period, so unique, in fact, that we might just be witnessing the kingdom of Antichrist and the mark of the beast system being assembled before our very eyes. Please note that I use the word might out of an overabundance of caution when writing articles like these, but when I am alone with my thoughts, I am completely convinced that is exactly where we are, 100%. The wise shall understand. Ever hear of luciferase? Over the past few weeks, we have shown you a massive project by Bill Gates that is so all-encompassing that it quite nearly beggars belief. The expression is an old English term which means something that is so unbelievable that it nearly cannot be believed. The Nazi concentration camps in the Holocaust are a great example of that. When the films of that what went on there came to light, it was so astonishing that it was hard to comprehend such a thing could happen. But happen it did. And what is happening right now, the Antichrist system, is a similarly hard thing to fathom, but here we are. Now, again, this person is claiming that, they are completely convinced that this is what this is. I'll have to say that, it does seem like it could be. It meets all the definition anyway. So, Bill Gates is building something we call human implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccination delivery system. Say that 10 times fast, or don't. And it's composed of multiple things. At its center, we have the COVID-19 vaccination that he wants to give every human on Earth. There will be a quantum dot microneedles, digital identification mark from ID 2020, and a human implantable device for buying and selling cryptocurrency with a patent number of 060606. The digital ID will come in the form of something called Immunity Passport. All of these things, and all being funded by one man, Bill Gates, represents in total at least very stunning forerunner to the Beast World system. That's at the very least estimation taken to its logical end. It could very well be the actual system. We don't know. But today I want to draw your attention to one component, the quantum dot microneedles that will deliver the vaccines, and a very unique biochemical that makes it all work. If you're standing up, you should sit down, as we read earlier. Today we bring you near infrared bioluminescence enzyme luciferase, which is the chemical that will make the quantum dot vaccination readable through a special mobile device app. That's right, the enzyme that will light up Bill Gates' human implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccination delivery system is called luciferase. That's what makes the vaccination readable long after the victim has been injected, and what allows a mere vaccination to function as a mark. Want to see what luciferase does? Take a look. All right. So, I'm not exactly sure what we are looking at here. Okay, perhaps it's time for you to enter into the NTEB Mark of the Beast archive and see how close we really are. Okay, I don't know what that's talking about, but one last thing you might find interesting, a sharp-eyed NTEBer named Matt took our phrase human implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccination delivery system and removed the word human, and guess what? The numerical value of that phrase adds up to 666. See for yourself. Luciferase. Remember that word. Welcome to Now the End Begins, and I think you see why we say it's the front lines of it. It's the front lines of the end times. Yeah. So there you go. That I think is extremely interesting, and it's this website I've never been on before, but it's called Now the End Begins. I'm going to look at some of the other stuff that they have on there, because this is the only thing I've ever read on this website. So there could be lots of other interesting things there, which I'm going to, take a look. And you can too. www.nowtheendbegins.com. Okay, let's go back. And I had to laugh at this. I'm not going to go into very much depth here, but I had to laugh at this because Flynn lawyer Sidney Powell takes a shot at Schiff. Wouldn't know the truth if it poked him in one of his bug eyes. Oh, I liked that, so I just, I had to show it to you. So yeah. I don't think we need to get into all that. I just thought it would be fun to say those words. All right, let's go back. And gonna skip that, and gonna skip that because I can't remember what that's about. But anyway, let's look at this. Julie Pace said, breaking, Washington Justice Department is dropping criminal case against ex-Trump advisor Flynn, according to court filings obtained by AP. Donald Trump Jr. says, damn straight. Now I hope he sues the shit out of those clowns at the FBI who put him through the nonsense for 3 years, setting him up and flagrantly sitting on all of the exculpatory evidence for 3 years. I truly hope they don't get away with this travesty of justice. Yeah. Okay. And again, here, Geraldo Geraldo Rivera said, "Right on, General Flynn, congratulations, justice at last. You were cruelly mistreated by rogue FBI agents dreaming of undoing the 2016 elections. They set a trap to frame you and use you versus the president. Now you're free, and the unraveling of that coup attempt, versus Donald Trump begins." And Donald Trump Jr. responds and says, "Now it's time to go on the offensive. I look forward to watching General Flynn take a flamethrower to these corrupted institutions." And I thought that was interesting because somebody said, yeah, he might just take a flamethrower to DC before he's all done. Okay. Now let's look at this, I think. Yeah. Video, Don Lemon claims Michelle Obama prettier and more accomplished than Melania. Okay. You lost me at the prettier. Seriously. You ask a man, about another man, and he'll always say, well, I don't know if he's good looking or not. I'm not into men. But you ask a woman, they'll always say, oh yeah, she's beautiful. Yes, we recognize other attractive human beings, be they male or female. Doesn't bring into question our sexuality, but you cannot look at Melania and this and say that this is more attractive, because it isn't. And that's not putting her down. Him, whatever. It's not, it's just a fact. It's a fact. Melania Trump is quite possibly the most beautiful woman in the world. At least one of. She's one of. And she speaks 5 languages. The woman is not a slouch, Anyway, Don Lemon thinks Trump is jealous because Obama's wife is more accomplished and prettier. Yeah, and I bet you Donald Trump is laughing all the way to the bedroom. I'm just saying. Don Lemon is a weirdo. His melodramatic rants, where he tries to seem more real and raw by putting on this strange, calm and cool front, are actually really creepy. He sounds like a jilted woman who's about to stab her ex in his sleep. He's at it again, and this time he's accusing President Trump of being obsessed with Obama. The hilarious irony of that is that this has to be Don Lemon's 1 millionth show on all things Trump. During his serial killer rant, Lemon attacked Melania. The bitter little hysterical diva Don suggested that President Trump was jealous of Obama because his wife was more accomplished and prettier. You can watch the video below. Well, just for fun, let's watch it.
What is it about President Obama that really gets under your skin? Is it because he's smarter than you? Better educated? Made it on his own? Didn't need daddy's help? Wife is more accomplished? Better looking? I don't know. What is it? What is it about him? That he's a black man that's accomplished, became president? That he punked you on the whole birth certificate thing? What is it about him? Just wondering.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, when I saw that, I thought, this man has psychological problems. No kidding. He needs to see somebody. Not only does he come off extremely creepy, he comes off as very small, immature, and ridiculous. But that's just my opinion. Yeah. So there you go. You know the left has run out of attacks when they stoop to these juvenile and silly levels. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's get off of Don Lemon because he's a lemon, all right. He's well named. Now, I like lemons, so actually I don't want to insult lemons in general because I really do. I am a lemon aficionado. I love them. Love them. Anything lemon, all things lemon, except for Don Lemon. Okay, now let's go back because I bet you there's more to look at. Oh, look, there is. Okay, well, let's look at this. This is Eric Matheny. Don't rat out your neighbors. Good advice. Don't. There are better ways to get your dopamine fix than to post a shame video of kids playing basketball. Neighbors snitching on neighbors is a tool of socialist governments to create dissent and distrust among communities to prevent consolidation of power. And think of it this way. The virus will pass, but your neighbors will still be your neighbors. So don't rat them out. Like, don't even. Because you know what? Your life can become miserable if you have bad neighbors and you get them on, your bad side or their bad side. So just don't do it. You're going to have those neighbors long after this virus is gone. If it's ever gone. I hope it goes soon. Okay. Now, I don't know what this is, but let's look at it. Oh, yes. Leading U.S. doctors, the drug has over 90% effectiveness in prevention and cure. Why have some governors banned it? Why did NIH fund a rigged Virginia study to discredit it? If Fauci knew about the drug since 2005, why were people denied it? Why is Fauci pushing Remdesivir? Follow the money. Yeah, because one costs 60 cents a pill and the other costs 1,000 a pill. That's why. Yep. Big Pharma makes big money. All right. Now, let's go back. I bet you there's more we can get into. Really, I bet you there is. Let's look at this. Now, look at Nancy here. Is that even the same woman? She looks awful. And the square eyebrows are back. SpongeBob square eyebrows. Or square, yeah. Call her Sponge Pelosi square eyebrows. Nancy Pelosi won't even let her own members show up to the Capitol to do their jobs. Yet she's on CNN attacking members of the Trump administration for not appearing before her investigation committees in the middle of a pandemic. What a joke. Well, that's what she is. And she looks like one here. Let's listen. It's 1 minute and 32 seconds. Just want to fill your dreams with nightmares.
You in the House of Representatives, this new White House memo that now says, among other things, for the month of May, no task force members or key deputies of task force members may accept hearing invitations from the House of Representatives. The new chief of staff at the White House may make some exceptions, we're told, but the administration says this is so the task force can focus in on responding to the crisis. What's your response to that?
Well, I was hoping they would spend more time on the crisis instead of those daily shows that the president put on. But the fact is that we need to allocate resources for this. In order to do that, any appropriations bill must begin in the House, and we have to have the information to act upon. So the fact that they said we're too busy being on TV to come to the Capitol is, well, business as usual for them, but it is not business that will be helpful to addressing this. We need to have the information. We must insist on the truth. Now, it's interesting. They said we're not going to the House, but Dr. Fauci can go to the Senate. I guess Mr. Meadows, being until a week or so ago a member of the House of Representatives, knows that we will be business very, very strictly insisting on the truth, and they might be afraid of the truth.
Nancy, Nancy, Nancy. Don't get your brows in a knot. Look a little worried. Does she not look a little worried to you? A little frazzled? I'm just saying. That's my opinion. All right, now let's come down here because, well, we have a few more minutes. Let me see here. I want to get the good stuff now. Trying to get the good stuff. I'll save the stuff for filler later, but I want to get the good stuff out to you here. Let me see here. Oh, there's so much. Oh yes, you probably heard this. You know, the restaurant that made the saying, "Where's the beef?" Yeah, when was that? In the 80s, I think. Where's the beef? Anyway, well, where's the beef? Because Wendy's is out of beef, which is not good if, you know, if your main menu consists of beef, not good. Nearly 1 in 5 Wendy's restaurants in the U.S. are out of beef, an analyst estimates, as coronavirus takes a toll on meat suppliers. So, there you go. And I find it interesting because there was a restaurant, and this was before this virus, but all they sell, and you don't have this restaurant in the States, but I always thought you should because it's, well, I thought it was really awesome. When I came home, I'd always go to this restaurant because they just make incredible chicken and they roast it over a spitfire, and it's good. It's called Swiss Chalet is what they call it. And it's all chicken, but recently they've added a few beef there. They've got ribs and I think a pot pie or something that have beef in it. But I went to the restaurant and I sat down and I said, you know, because mostly people order the same thing, quarter chicken dinner. So I said, I'll have a quarter chicken dinner. And they said, oh no, we're out of chicken. I said, you're out of chicken? This is a chicken restaurant. Like, how do you run out of chicken? I don't know, we're out of chicken. So I mean, why they even took me in and sat me down and didn't tell me that at the door, I don't know. But I said, well, okay, I guess I'll, you know, I was really hungry, and this is like in an area where there's shopping and stuff, and I had been shopping and doing errands and stuff, and I was starving. And so I was like, okay, well, then give me the ribs. Oh no, we're out of ribs too. All right. Well, then give me the beef. No, we're out of that too. No, I'm not lying here. This is like, this happened. And I'm like, now they're under new management. The old management was really good. The new management, anyway, so yeah. And I was like, well, so tell me, what is it that you do have? Soup. Oh, okay, soup. And what else? Anything else you have? Salad. Yeah. They let me go in. Don't chew that. Don't chew it. They let me go in, get seated, and tell me, no, we don't have any chicken. Then they let me, instead of saying, no, we don't have any meat, they let me go through all these items. No, we don't have that either. Well, tell me what you do have. Soup and salad. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the virus or anything like that. It was just a little bit of craziness. Yeah. So let's look at what else we can get into here. Because if we don't, I'll just start chattering on and I'll talk the hind leg off, your hind leg off, and well, then what are you going to do? So let's look at this, shall we? We like stories about Mad Maxine, don't we? Come on. First day with the new fingers. Okay, Maxine Water caught using campaign funds to pay family debts. Now, this is a little bit older. It's May 3rd, 2020. So it's a few days old, 7 days old. But why isn't this all over the news? I'm just asking. Probably because it's Mad Maxine. Meanwhile, the people in her district are homeless, and but she's using her campaign funds to pay her family debts. Well, isn't that so nice of her? Yeah. Okay. Maxine Waters has been under fire for her questionable use of campaign funds for several months now. The first of several Federal Election Commission complaints were filed in July. The complaint claimed that Waters had broken campaign finance laws. Since the complaint was filed, Waters has not changed or ended the practice. In recent months, Waters has paid at least $50,000 to her daughter. Well, isn't that nice of her? A long history of questionable campaign finance practices. Fox News reported in August that Waters has been using campaign funds to pay her daughters for well over a decade. Oh, I think somebody might be chewing. No, I was wrong. What a delightful surprise. Since 2004, the campaign, in turn, reportedly has paid $750,000 to the Congresswoman's daughter, Karen Waters, or her public relations firm, Progressive Connections, for help producing them. Water also came under fire in October of 2018 for exchanging spots on her slate mailers for thousands in cash from state politicians. This strategy allows her to get around federal campaign contribution limits. The Washington Free Beacon pointed out that the slate mailers have fallen out of favor in recent years. The use of slate mailers, which are common practice in states such as California and Oregon, have come under heavy scrutiny. Waters appears to be the only federal candidate to run a slate mailer operation from a federal committee, according to a search of FEC's database, Nepotism at its finest. Karen Waters has benefited greatly from her mother's campaign dollars, according to FEC filings. Of the $182,323 owed in total debts by Maxine Waters' campaign this quarter, $133,022.15 of that is earmarked to be paid to Karen. This amount is in addition to another $108,000 that Karen was paid during the midterm election. Karen Waters is profiting heavily from Maxine Waters' campaign donations. Yeah, don't you? Hey. That is Xander. Xander is a going concern once again. I'm telling you, it's like he got better and just, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that cat, but if there's trouble, he's going to find it. Right now, he's picking at the leather. All right. Now, you didn't come here to hear about Xander, so let's go back and see what else I can get into in the last few minutes here. Da-dum, da-dum, dum. I thought this was really a cool story. I haven't heard this anywhere else, but I thought this was really kind of neat. So I'm gonna show it to you. It says Irish donate to Native Americans during pandemic to repay 170-year-old debt. Xander, I'm sorry. There's something about hearing the leather being picked at that makes me cringe because, you know, I see dollar signs. I don't like my stuff being ruined. That's why I didn't have kids. No, that's not why I didn't have kids. All right. Paybacks and karma don't always have to be a bad thing. Sometimes a kindness your ancestors did 173 years ago can come back around when you need it most. This is what the Navajo and Hopi nations are learning as dozens of people from Ireland make donations to the Native American tribes' GoFundMe page for COVID-19 relief. According to an administrator for the page, Vanessa Tully, several of our recent donations for our GoFundMe campaign have been inspired by the Great Hunger Famine in Ireland, which started in 1845. What she is referring to is the time that the Choctaw Nation donated $170 to the Irish during their Great Famine, when around 1 million people died of starvation in that country. The year was 1847, so that amount of money would be worth a little over $5,000 today. Tully wrote, not long before the Great Hunger Famine in Ireland, 60,000 Native Americans, including the Choctaw people, had suffered through the experience of the Trail of Tears. There's a book called The Trail of Tears, and if you ever want something really good to read, it is a book, but it is a great book, well written, but it will tear your heart out and hand it to you. The death of many people on the Trail of Tears sparked empathy for the Irish people in their time of need. Thus, the Choctaw extended $170 of relief aid 173 years later to today. The favor is returned through generous donations from the Irish people to the Navajo Nation during our time of crisis. A message from Irish donor Pat Hayes sent from Ireland across the ocean. From Ireland, 170 years later, the favor is returned to our Native American brothers and sisters in your moment of hardship. That is one of the best news articles I've read in a very, very long time. Actually, I'm starting to tear up because I think it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I wish that I could find more stories like this. I really do, because it's nice to punctuate all the bad stuff with some stories like this, because, you know, the world is not, I know it's easy to look at all this thing, everything that's happening, and think that the world is so wicked and evil, and in great part it is, but there's also still so much beauty in the world, so much beauty, and there is goodness. There is goodness in people, and sometimes people do the right things. So yeah, be encouraged. All right, now I think I'm going to end that there. It's almost 11:30, and I do have other things that I could get to, but nothing that, yeah, I think I'll save that and just end on a good note for tonight, because you know what, I think we all need a good note. So be encouraged. The world is not as wicked and evil as we think. It's just that when we're focusing on it and looking into it every day and hearing about it, it does appear that way. And that's why sometimes I've just had enough and I can't deal with the negative news anymore. And I go out and I get in nature, because I don't know, there's something about spending time in nature, hearing the birds, watching the little animals scurry around. I feed the ducks or do whatever, and it just kind of resets me and resets my spirit, because it's easy to lose sight of the goodness in the world. And there is still goodness in this world. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. I will be back tomorrow, and with either Q or the news, one or the other. Q posts, I will bring those to you. And if there's news happening, I'll bring that to you. Well, there's always news happening. So that is it. You guys have a wonderful evening. I hope you sleep well and awake refreshed. And I will see you in the next video. Keep seeking truth. Good night, guys.